All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I'd like to give honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash, and double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that have taught us this truth and sincerity. Peace and blessings to the hopefully elect that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom, this is your brother Kodash, coming back at you with another word of the day lesson from the GMS Memphis camp. All right, and today's word of the day will be going into the word Appoint here in Jeremiah the 15th chapter, and it's in verse 3, but I'm gonna start at the top just to get some context. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and it's to the point, because just getting into the word appoint, the Lord is gonna appoint like what it's finna go into judgments upon those that don't want to hearken unto this word, starting with his own people. Scriptures say that the judgment must begin at the house of the Most High, roughly paraphrasing. Okay, so let's just get right into it. Jeremiah 15 and verse 1, it says, Then said the Lord Yahweh unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me. And Moses, and Samuel, those are two prophets, man. Okay, which served as mediators. Okay, between the people and the Most High. The Lord was dealing with these men, what I'm saying, to basically in return deal with Israel. Okay, and it says stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. Why? And it says, well, pretty much because they was constantly going off. They wasn't hearkening unto the words of the prophets. All right, and it says, cast them out of my sight and let them go forth. And it says in verse 2, and it shall come to pass if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, such as are for death to death, such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. Right, man. So that death is going to come in many ways, in these last days. Pestilence, teeth of wild beasts, like what's finna go into. And it says pretty much going into the sword. That's going to come in many ways. Esau, Edom, going into what's that, Psalm 17:13, deliver me from the wicked, which is thy sword. And then also the thermonuclear missiles. And then it says famine. You got famine of food, water, and then also famine of the word, man. Which is the most important famine of them all, because scriptures say man shall not live off bread alone, but every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord. Okay, and it says, and such as for the captivity to the captivity, right? Because you're gonna have, a lot of our people, in these last days, that's gonna get carted off into these different prison camps, just like one now. What I'm saying, that's very popular. Alligator Alcatraz. All right, they're gonna be carted off into these prison detention centers. Okay, why? Because they didn't want to hearken unto the words of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Verse 3, and it says, and I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord Yahweh, the sword to slay, meaning to kill them, and the dogs to tear, which is, the teeth of wild beasts, changing their places, and also Esau's mechanical dogs that he has put together by way of AI. All right, the Lord is going to let them loose too. And it says, and the fowls of heaven, which is going into, your different birds, your eagles, your hawks, vultures, all these different, birds that, come down and eat on the bodies of people once they die, and plus the Lord said that he have, promised, the fowls of the heaven a great feast. When you get that in Revelation, so the Lord is going to prepare a great feast for these birds in these last days, which they're going to feast upon the dead corpses that's not going to get buried. All right, and it says, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy, right, which is these animals, man, that they have locked up in these zoos and such. They're going to get let out, and a lot of them is already roaming. You got certain videos where you see bears and stuff, in people's backyards. All of this is a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. This is the word appoint in the Strong's, and it says Strong's H6485 per quad. Okay, and it says an outline of biblical usage. I'm gonna just get straight to the point. At the top, it says to attend, muster, number. It says reckon, visit, punish. Right, and that's the point. You know, the Lord is gonna visit you and punish you, man, by way of judgment. Okay, and it says down here in the Strong's definition, it says when you jump down, it says go see, hurt, do judgment. Right. So the Lord is gonna come and see you and hurt you and do judgment, man. Okay. you know, but 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 he's gonna send it to you in these various judgments that was just stated here in the scriptures, man. The dogs to tear, the fowls of the heaven, the beasts of the earth. The Lord is gonna appoint over you Jakes, man. And when I say Jakes, you Israelites, all right, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. The Lord is gonna appoint judgments over you, man, because you didn't hearken unto His prophets. Okay, and why? Because in Proverbs, real quick, let me get it. Proverbs 1. Because when the Lord called, you didn't want to answer, man. It says in Proverbs 1:24, it says, because I have called and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded it. It says, but ye have set at not all my counsel and with none of my reproof. You see, and how's the Lord, speaking unto you now, man, by way of His prophets. You can get that in Hebrews, the first chapter, where it said, He spake by way of His prophets, okay, out in the highways and hedges, man. This whole chapter right here pretty much tell you that wisdom crieth without, she uttered her voice in the streets, okay, by way of the prophets, man, starting in Great Millstone with our elder apostles all the way down, man. This is how the Lord is speaking unto you, and this is the reason why, by you refusing this, the Lord is going to appoint over you those four kinds. Verse 26, it says, I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. Right. And it says, when your fear cometh, as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind. When when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. Right, because it's going to be a time of the famine of the word, man. Because you was bullshitting while you had the liberty and the opportunity to get this word, you was playing. So guess what? The Lord is going to appoint over you those four kinds, man. Going back to Jeremiah 15:3, the Hebrew word per quad. All right, the Lord is going to visit you with judgment, man. All right, so Lord willing, this lesson was edifying and to the point. Until next time, shalom.